Hey, what's up, guys? This is Johnny, and welcome to episode 19 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. I'm here today with Stefan King from Holland. What's up, buddy?
Nothing much. I'm just enjoying this podcast here with you. So
Very cool. So we're out here in Chiang Mai, and Stefan does some copywriting. How did you get started with that?
Well, it was 3 years ago. I was tired of the corporate grind, as most people are. So then I decided to strike out on my own, and I had some. I had heard people say that I was a good writer, and I wanted to have some more independence and freedom. So I decided to become a copywriter.
That's cool. And your clients where are they normally from? What countries?
Most of my clients come from the United States or Australia, and some of them are also based in Singapore.
Okay. I think it's really cool that you own a copywriting company and you have clients, and English isn't even your first language, right?
Yeah, I'm proud of the fact that I'm pretty good at English, and it's in general in the Netherlands English education is pretty advanced, and I just watched a lot of TV shows, American TV shows when I was growing up as a small child, and played a lot of video games, and that's how I got familiar with English from a very young age.
Yeah, I've met a lot of Dutch people while traveling, and all of them speak perfect English. And I think a big part of it is your movies in Holland, all the American movies, they're not dubbed. They just have subtitles, right?
Yes.
And I think that's the number one thing, because most people nowadays, they learn English through watching TV or through movies. And any country that doesn't have dubbed movies, automatically the whole population speaks English. And the countries that dub it, and at first it sounds stupid. Like, have you ever tried watching a movie that's supposed to be in one language and they lip sync it in another? It's not even enjoyable.
Yeah, you cannot really go back to that if you're used to having the original soundtrack on. Then yes, it sounds much more real that way. And
yeah, even for languages I don't understand, like I really liked watching Cantonese movies, like these old Cantonese gangster movies from Hong Kong. And even though I couldn't understand it, I would just read the English subtitles and I would enjoy the movie. And now I can go to Hong Kong and probably order food and swear at people and I'll be okay.
yeah, lots of extra advantages to authentic entertainment there. Yeah.
All right, so what is copywriting for people that are listening to this that aren't really that sure?
Well, it's like this. If you have a sales message, like you have a business and you have a product or a service to offer, and you have your marketing figured out, you know who your customers are, and at that point you still have to give them the optimal message. Given what you sell and given a target audience, there is a best way of you communicating to them through your website, on your blog, your business card, your tagline, your headline, like all that stuff. That's copywriting.
Okay, so kind of just put you on the spot. So let's say we're sitting out here in the garden and we're staring at some patio furniture, right? So let's say I have a patio furniture company in the U.S. I have a website. What would a bad example of copywriting be? So let's say I just had the accountant. I said, okay, hey, can you write something? What would be terrible?
Yes, what would be terrible is to say that these are quality chairs, and we've been making chairs for 100 years. If that's the first thing you say, then that doesn't really help me much, because it doesn't tell me as a customer why I should buy that chair. Okay. It doesn't really. It's not the first thing I'm worried about. It can help later on. You can mention somewhere that you're 100 years old and that you have really high quality stuff. But yeah, that's not what I care about when I buy a chair, and that is a very common mistake to make.
That's interesting, because as the owner of this patio chair company, I'm very proud that this has been in my family for 100 years, and we make the best quality. So it's interesting that from a sales point of view, maybe the customer doesn't actually care about that right away. I mean, they probably want to know that eventually, as you just mentioned. They want to know it's a good company, but that's not what they're looking for when they want to buy. What would they want to look for in the beginning?
Well, it's in general, if you sell something, you are looking for a benefit. Usually a copywriter would split up a product or any offer, like a product or service up in a benefit and a feature, and I personally also interject advantages in between there. And the benefit of sitting in a chair is the first thing that comes to mind is comfort, as opposed to standing up or lying down. It is still comfortable and practical at the same time. So that is the benefit of having a chair. And then you start in the language you use to sell it. You start highlighting that fact.
Okay. So for let's say for patio furniture, for a chair, patio chair, if I said something like, this is the most comfortable chair in the world because our 90-degree angle design, is that good or bad?
That's not good.
Okay.
Because the 90-degree angle design is a feature, and it's something that you can mention, but it's still not something that I'm really paying for. It's you should start talking about the feeling that you get when you are in a chair.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, and if you're talking about patio furniture and it's outside, then an additional benefit could be that it's resistant to bad weather, right? And that's the first thing or the second thing that people are worried about. So you would. I mean, you cannot just really do it on the fly but if you start selling patio furniture, then you would start with comfort and the weather thing. That is something that you so it doesn't wear out. That's a benefit, and the feature would be has a super great lacquer or something, it's treated in a way that it lasts a long time. And then the sales message is all about promising the benefit, and then you start in the copy describing how the features relate to the benefit. And once people understand that, they will buy. That
really makes sense. I mean, as somebody that's always heard about features versus benefits and had somewhat of an idea of what a sales page or copywriting should be, this is actually the first time I've really thought about it from that point of view. Because, I've always been in my business is more on the e-commerce side. We have the products, and I have a list of features, and it's very easy for me when I'm thinking about manufacturing the perfect product to think, okay, I want to have three-dimensional triple lacquer stain, right? And to me, I know what that means. To me that means this is the best weatherproofing in the world. It's not gonna it can go through snow and rain, but to the customer, they might not know what the heck rhino skin technology is. They want to know what the actual benefit, why do I need rhino skin technology? And in this case, it's because the benefit could be leave your chairs outside and not worry about it getting damaged in the rain.
Yes.
So I like that. Okay, cool. So how do your customers find you? I know you mentioned something earlier, when you first got started and you knew you had the skill, you're good at writing. How did you get your first customers?
Yeah, when I was starting out, I was working on oDesk and Elance. This is a very common way to get in touch with freelancers if you are looking for both as a freelance worker, and of course if you're an entrepreneur and you want to have a lot of choice and options of various types of freelancers, then you go to oDesk or Elance. That's where I started.
Yeah, so I just hired my first employees off of oDesk. So I have one person picking up my phone calls, and recently I just hired some people to transcribe this podcast. And it's easy to go through oDesk. I mean, literally, I'll put up an ad, and I said, looking for someone to transcribe my podcast. And the description, all I put was, looking for someone to transcribe my podcast, travellikeabosspodcast.com. And within an hour, I got 28 people applying for this job. And I could look at not only their resume, but they're also the reviews of employees that hired them, how much they got paid for all those jobs, where they're from, basically all these cool things. So out of those 28 people that apply, how do you differentiate yourself? How do you get the person posting the job to choose you?
Well, at first it was I always seemed to only get the job if I really had an edge, and that was in my case. I had an IT background, and that was quite advanced. And then when it was an IT company and they needed something technical, they were selling something technical, they would very much like to have somebody who immediately understands it, that they don't have to explain too much to, and is also appears to be a competent writer. And when I was applying for jobs for IT companies, I would have a high chance of being hired.
Oh, cool. So you worked in IT back in the Netherlands, right?
Yes.
So for the people listening that have no idea where the Netherlands are, what country is that?
Well, it's a country in Northwest Europe. It's pretty small in terms of size. It's like, I don't know what state you could compare it to in the United States, but it's really a small country, and but it has 17 million inhabitants, so it's pretty crowded. And the weather is bad. That's why I'm here in Thailand. But apart from that, architecture, culture is all very pleasant and comfortable. So
it's Amsterdam. I mean, for people that still haven't figured it out, Netherlands is basically Amsterdam, right?
Yes. From an international perspective, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, so this is gonna be a trivia question for everyone listening. What the difference between Holland and the Netherlands are?
Well, the Netherlands is the official name of the country, and it's usually referred to as Holland internationally because, like, one of the provinces is called the actual official name of one of the provinces is Holland, and that's the province where the seaport used to be at, or still is, of course. But when the country was growing and was really famous and internationally influential, at that point, all the international ships, would, of course, mostly only see the province Holland. So that's how it became known internationally as Holland.
Bam, that's cool. So the Travel Like a Boss podcast has now become the History Like a Boss podcast.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. Yeah. So right now in Holland, what is the weather like? If you're just going to guess.
Ooh, I really would have to guess. Yeah, it's definitely somewhere around freezing temperature. So if you're lucky, it's maybe like 3. I'm sorry, I cannot do Fahrenheit, but like minus 3 degrees Celsius is basically just where you get snow and ice going. And if you're lucky, it's that, and it can be nice. It can be nice out, clear day. If you're unlucky, then it's just above that, and if it starts raining, you have this icy rain coming down on you.
Wow. Okay. And so a lot of people here in Chiang Mai have been complaining about how cold it's been the last couple of weeks. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, well, so I've been living here for 3 years, so I felt actually like a native in the sense that I felt I was very, very cold. I was not used to it anymore, and another problem really is here that you don't have heating because you don't really need it. And then when the cold hits and it gets like around maybe 5, 7, 6 degrees at night Celsius, then you really want to have an extra blanket.
Well, a lot of people don't even have blankets.
Yeah, I do have a blanket actually, but it was not enough. I had to put on extra clothes while I was sleeping.
So if you had complained on your Facebook or to your friends and family that are in Holland saying it's 7 degrees plus Celsius right now, I'm so cold, what would they say?
Yeah, they would say that I'm spoiled, and they would pretend to be outraged by my complaining. Yeah.
So now it's actually pretty sunny. I mean, I don't know what it is right now, but today was the first day I was able to ride my motorbike in the morning with just a t-shirt, and it's nice that it's sunny again. And have you been down to the islands at all?
Yes, last year in spring I took a holiday and I visited Koh Phangan, which is a small island south of Koh Phangan, and that's where I spent a week.
Nice. What was that like?
Yeah, it was a very pleasant place. Like all the tropical stereotypes, about the palm trees and the blue sea and a nice breeze and coconuts. That's all exactly there, and it's a bit more quiet than the very touristy places.
So, very cool. Well, I'm going to go to the most touristy island in the world, flying out tomorrow, and I'm going to go for the full moon party.
So you go to Koh Phangan?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have a lot of fun, I guess.
Yeah.
The full moon parties are famous.
So I have a buddy that's coming out just for a few days, and he asked me to meet him down there, and I was like, yeah, sure. The nice thing is there's no direct flight yet, but flying from Chiang Mai to Bangkok only takes an hour, and now with through the ferry company called Lampraya, what they do is they basically transfer everything for you. So I actually don't know what my flights are, where I'm landing, but all I know is booking through them. I'm flying from Chiang Mai airport, which is 5 minutes from here, and somehow they transfer me on a couple planes and onto a ferry, and I end up at Koh Phangan within a few hours. So it should be pretty easy. I'll listen to a couple podcasts on the plane and boat ride. And the islands, I mean, if anyone hasn't heard of the Full Moon Party, it is one of the craziest parties in the world. I remember as a kid reading an article in Maxim magazine, which is a men's magazine in the U.S., kind of like, you know, health, like men's fitness or men's health, and they were saying that this is the craziest party on the planet. And what it is an entire island where nobody really goes to during the weeks or the months, and the only time it's ever really populated is during the 1 week of the full moon. Other than that, there's a couple like yoga retreats or detox retreats or like some, you know, really nice, kind of quiet, relaxing places. But other than that, it's just empty. Like nobody goes to this island. And every month, a few days before the full moon, like 20,000 people go there just to party.
Yes. Wow, that sounds great. Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like going to I know Holland's supposed to be really famous for, especially Amsterdam, really famous for their festivals and their parties.
Yes, it's not actually only in Amsterdam. Of course, there's where it's the biggest, but there are also in other larger cities many big annual dance festivals that lots of people go to. Yes, and with famous DJs and party drugs. And
yeah. You know, I've actually, so I haven't, you know, I don't do drugs. I don't smoke weed, or I don't even drink alcohol. But the next time I go to Holland, if I ever go there, I'm gonna do so much MDMA.
Yeah, well, it's easy to get, so. Yeah.
And it's super cheap there, right?
Yeah. You can I don't know what the prices are nowadays, but it will not break the bank.
Yeah, because I almost feel like if there's anywhere in the world I want to do ecstasy, it's gonna be Holland. And,
yes. Yeah.
You know, I just imagine these huge, like, crazy warehouse parties. It's probably the equivalent, at least in my mind. I haven't been yet, but from what I've heard, for the DJs and the vibe and the scene, it's like what the raving era was like in America back in the 90s, and it's still going on.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Yes. Yeah.
Everyone's like super friendly. The ecstasy is actually legitimate. It's not cut with a bunch of crap. You know, it's like good quality music, good quality friends and fun.
Yeah, it's very well known for that, and attracts a lot of tourists for that reason. Exactly. Also.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. And you know, Dutch girls are beautiful.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, nice blonde hair, and they're tall. Yeah, and they don't complain that much.
They're very nice. Like I traveled with a couple of Dutch girls, and I would say the number one quality that all of them had, they're all very easygoing, and they're very friendly, and they're just nice people, and they're funny. Like I don't think they even try to be funny. I think they just happen. You know, they don't realize they're funny. They just are.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's nice. Okay. So I can see you guys out in Amsterdam at one of these parties. I'll be the guy with the huge U.S. flag. I like. There's a big festival called Tomorrow. Is it Tomorrow World or Tomorrowland? In Belgium. Have you heard of this?
Tomorrowland. This sounds familiar, but I don't know the details.
It's supposed to be this huge party in Belgium every year. That I think it's like. I want to guess 200,000 people, and they sell out tickets within like 3 hours every year.
So you have people sleeping in front of the booth or something?
No, it's just online. And the reason I know about this is some people from, I forgot we were in Europe, they said they were trying to get tickets. So they were online exactly at 12 o'clock when the tickets were to be sold, and there's 7 of them at 7 different internet cafes, 7 different houses trying to buy tickets. None of them got it.
Yeah.
And within, like, I don't know, it might have been within 3 minutes, they sold out 200,000 tickets.
Yeah, that's an interesting challenge then as a website owner to keep it going that way.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about the Full Moon Party is it's a lot easier to get. You don't need tickets, you kind of just show up. I didn't know anything about it the first time I went. In my mind, I was thinking of this small tropical island with no hotels or no infrastructure, and like, where do you sleep? Do you just sleep on the beach, or or what is it? But now that it's 2014, it's pretty built up. You have, on the beach itself, you have maybe 6 big resorts. They're quite expensive for this beachfront hotel rooms. Probably at least $100 a night, maybe $150 a night to be around the beach.
How many days will you be there?
I'm going to be there for 4 nights.
Ah, yes.
And the trick to it, if anyone's ever thinking about going, is the actual night of the full moon party is not that fun. And the reason for that is it's way too crowded. Sometimes there's 30,000 people. And when you have that many, you're afraid to lose your friends. You're afraid to really just have fun. But the nights that are leading up to it are the exact same party, same DJ, same beach, everything. And because it's smaller, like there's maybe 5,000 people, and everyone's really excited because they just got there and they're waiting for the party. Everyone just, are really friendly, wanting to meet people, and just want to have fun. So that's the big trick. I would even say, if you wanted to skip the actual night of the full moon and only go the 3 nights before, you'll have just as much fun, if not more.
Ah, that's party hacking.
Yeah, and it'd probably be cheaper too.
Yeah.
But there are hotels. I mean, it's always a gamble if you just show up and look for a place. But even on the busiest months, which are December, January, February, you could just show up 3 days before and you could find something somewhere. Because a lot of the smaller hotels still don't have websites.
Ah, yeah, that's a common thing here. Eh?
Yeah.
They don't. So that's what I find in general, that if you don't have to always go to the big websites. Not always go there. You can take a risk. You will land on your feet.
Yeah, I mean, even here in Chiang Mai, people always freak out about trying to find their monthly accommodations while they're back in Europe or back in the US, and they complain that they can't find anywhere that's not booked up. And it's because the only 10 places that have websites, they get all the traffic.
Yes, and they are very overpriced. They know that they are that they have some sort of monopoly, right? Mm-hmm. And it's of course they can afford to do internet marketing, and they can afford to execute on that. And if you just get here and you get a bike and you drive around for half an hour, you can find places that are way cheaper.
Yeah, that's because these big hotels with the websites, they're paying guys like you to write the sales copy.
Yes, yeah, and do the content marketing and everything. Yes. And they buy advertisements, and sure. That's ultimately the guest is paying for that stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Can I ask you, what do you pay for your apartment here per month?
Ooh, well, I'm a really lucky guy. Like, I have a really good apartment, and I pay only about 4,500.
Okay.
For everything included. So that's
Euro.
No, that's baht, Thai baht. So in terms of euro, that would be about 125 euros. Which is probably like $160.
US, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And then all my living, my cost of rent, electricity, and water and internet is all. Imagine that. Can you go anywhere in the United States or Europe to get an apartment that has a view on the mountain on the 4th floor? Has 2 separate rooms, so it's not big, but I actually have a little bit of a kitchen. I have a balcony. I have a bedroom and a couch and a TV, like very basic, but it doesn't really cost anything at all, and I don't need more because it's just me. It's just one guy. So.
And all the random girls you have over.
Of course, it's a very big and comfortable bed. Yes.
So it's actually a 1-bedroom apartment. It's a separate room.
Yes, it's a separate, and that is in Chiang Mai kind of a luxury. Most people end up with a studio apartment that doesn't have a door in between the 2 places, and so you have just one place. And I think personally that it's less comfortable to be in because you cannot separate the place where you sleep from all the rest of your life.
That's really cool, man. I haven't heard of anyone having a separate 1-bedroom for that cheap.
Yes.
It's usually, from the ones I've seen, usually it starts at 10,000 baht, which is about $300 a month, which still isn't expensive, but I've never heard of a separate room for less than 5,000.
Yes, and that's why I feel so lucky, also with the good view and the balcony and everything.
And how did you find this one?
Well, it's just because I was here for a while, I could afford to. At first, I had a different apartment. I paid 8,000 baht, which is about 200 euros or $300, and then that was a studio apartment, and I had a swimming pool.
Oh, nice.
So, but I didn't use the swimming pool that much, and I wanted to live somewhere close in town. And I just asked around. I have some Thai friends, and I asked them, so, do you have any advice? Where would you recommend I go? And my friend took me to that place.
Okay, cool. And what part of town are you in?
It's called Chang Puak, and if you know Chiang Mai a bit, it has this big square-shaped moat. And in the north of that moat is the area called Chang Puak, and I live basically like half a kilometer up north, and then there's a bus station, and that's where I live.
Okay. I know exactly where that is.
It's not a good area in terms of nightlife or restaurants or anything like that, but it is close to most important places, and because there's not much there, that is why it's so cheap.
Okay. So if you guys want to find a really good deal on an apartment, stay here for a while, make some Thai friends, and they can bring you to some nice places for super cheap. I think that's a recommendation, yeah?
Yes, exactly, yes.
I think that every time I've ever spoken to a Thai person and I tell them what I pay for rent, they always look at me like I'm getting ripped off, because we probably are.
Yes, yeah. It's because you have these these Western prices in your mind to compare. And you should, of course, it takes more time to get rid of that, because you have to look at more stuff and live here for a while. But once you get used to Thai prices, then you become more demanding of what you get for your money.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is yours like a condo, or is it? I mean, do they come clean the room ever?
It's somewhere in between. Like, it's not meant to be that way. Half the people that live in my apartment building are Thai, and they don't view it as a serviced apartment. But in practice, I can just ask the janitor, "Can you please clean my room?" And here's 200 baht and plus tip, and then he cleans my room. So it's a very flexible arrangement.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I've actually recommended that to a friend. She lives in a Thai style condo similar to yours. She pays a lot more because she's a bit closer to the city, and her biggest complaint was that nobody cleans the room ever, and she has to go out and buy a bucket and a mop and all this stuff. And I just told her, I was like, why don't you
she has to clean herself,
which
is also very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I was like, why don't you just give someone 200 baht, which is like $6, and just ask them to clean your room? And I would say almost every single place will be like, no problem, because they need to clean it when people move out anyways, so they have staff to clean it, and they're happy to take your $7, because to them, for an hour of work, that's actually a really good rate.
Yes, yeah.
I'm really lazy. People ask me why I don't find a better place or a cheaper place, and it's because I have no idea where I'm going to be next month. There's 99% chance I'm going to be here in Chiang Mai. There's no reason for me to leave, but I just kind of like having the freedom of not signing any contracts, not owning my own bed sheets.
Yes.
And not owning anything. And I just still live out of a backpack, even though I've been in Chiang Mai off and on for over a year, and I could easily have just rented out a condo, a one-bedroom condo for the same price with a nice big place. But instead, I just choose to live in a hotel.
Yeah, if you can afford it, then you can do that.
Well, last year, exactly a year ago when I was here, I could not afford it. I was living in a place that was even cheaper than yours. It was 3,500 baht a month, which is $100 US.
Yes.
And it was a super Thai style place that didn't even have a TV, didn't even have a fridge. It was basically just a room.
I've seen those. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And I found it by just walking around. So my trick is I'll park my motorbike in the area that I want to be. In that case, it was the CrossFit gym, because I knew that was my priority at the time. And I just start walking. And
that's also in Chang Puak, right?
Yeah, it's also in Chang Puak. Yeah. I walk around in like a expanding square pattern. And I figure if I can walk to the place I'm going to spend most of my time, it's a good location. And the place I went into had no sign. It has a sign, but it's only in Thai. So there's no English name. Nobody spoke any English. And it was really difficult. I had to bring like little... I don't have any Thai friends here really, so I had like a little translation guide. And I was just trying to figure out how much it was per month. And when they said it was I think it was 3,400 baht or something, and the room was clean and it was okay location. I was like, okay, I'll take it. And so I lived there for about 6 months while I was kind of bootstrapping the business.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about how did you move from Holland here to Chiang Mai?
You mean what was the decision? Like I took a plane. That's how I moved here. Like can you?
Yeah. Like what was your decision? Like what made you move out here, and what did you? How did you, like basically how can you afford to live here? How do you get your income too?
Yes, so it's, I did it like this. After I decided I was no longer going to be a corporate IT consultant, I just went to a temp agency and I got a very simple call center job. And I worked part-time. And all the rest of the time I was just doing copywriting like crazy, like getting better at it, studying it, getting new clients, getting better clients, building. Like it was pretty rough time in terms of workload. But that built me up to a point where I could easily leave the temp agency. And at that point I was suddenly I realized like, okay, I have now this new career that is way better than what I used to have in terms of flexibility. And I could just finally go do the 4-hour work week thing because I now had location independence and I had read the 4-hour work week when it came out originally. And that's why I decided that I should go to Southeast Asia because that's what everybody does. So that's what I had to do too. And I just randomly picked Thailand over Vietnam or Bali or whatever. And that's how I did it. I booked my ticket, I sold my stuff, and I flew here.
That's a pretty cool story. It's pretty similar to mine as well. And I would say there's tons of people that I meet here that follow the same path. They read the 4-hour work week, and they're like, I don't want to spend another winter at home. I don't want to work at this corporate job that I hate anymore. Let me just figure out some way where I can make money online and move out here. That's why I really like the service-based businesses, is because even though that's not the path I took the longest possible path. I moved out here with just my savings, and I just tried to figure it out. I had no.
That is risky, yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a huge risk, and my only goal was I figured I sold my car and I had about $10,000 from that, and I was doing the calculation, thinking, okay, that should last me at least 5 months. Ended up lasting me 3 years. First, because I would live as cheap as possible, and second, I would do things like teach scuba diving, or
you already knew how to.
No, didn't even know how to.
That's cool.
Yeah, well, to actually teach the scuba diving is really expensive, and I wouldn't recommend it. But there's something called a dive master, which is really easy to get and it's really cheap. So for about $1,000, you can go from never been scuba diving before to being a dive master, which is it's like a tour guide, where you only take people who already know how to dive, already have the license, and you just guide them around. It's almost like a hiking guide. You show them some fish because you train to know where the fish hide. You make sure you keep track of the time so they come back at a certain time. Make sure they don't get lost. It's relatively a very easy job, and the reason why I did it is because it allows you to go scuba diving every day for free.
Yes. I can imagine that after a few weeks you would get bored of it.
You do get bored of it after a while, and that's why I kept moving around. I started in Phuket. I did my open water there, which is like the beginner's course. Then I went to Koh Tao, and I did all the other licenses, like something called advanced, and then the rescue diving, and then the dive master. And I worked there for a while. Then I moved to Koh Lanta, which is better diving. I ended up moving around a lot, but that was a few years of my life, and I didn't actually start making money online until this year.
Oh,
yeah, until I think it was last January, exactly 1 year ago. I made, I made, I would say, $100 online somewhere, filling out surveys or something stupid. But I never actually made like a real income until 1 year ago.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's impressive if you start out here and then just go to in such a short time. Huh?
Yeah. At the same time, it's kind of like when you're here and you have no responsibilities and you have all these people around you that are making money online, it makes it really easy.
Yeah, I agree with that. Once you meet people that have first of all the similar idea of not doing what everybody else does, not doing the 9 to 5, and then meeting people that actually can be successful that way, not just getting by, but just get ahead that way, then you start thinking like they do.
Well, that's why I really wanted to have you on the podcast, is because you basically did what people consider is impossible. You started with a new business that you weren't. It's not something that you went to school for. It's not something that you even really had experience in. You had a whole different industry before, and you decided, you know what, let me do some copywriting, and you just went on oDesk. You started working, at a low rate probably.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
In the beginning, you kind of have to do that. You kind of have to do the work and build yourself up. Actually, I have an example of a friend, Marion. She does the intro to this podcast. So she started just a few months ago to be a voiceover artist.
Yes, I know her.
Yes, really nice girl from France. And she bought a microphone, set up a little cardboard booth in her hotel room as a recording studio, and she was trying to get clients. And I had suggested to her that she goes on Fiverr. And at first she was reluctant because she's like, I can't live off of that. It's only $5 per gig, and as she's like a good, she has good skill as well. And I said, you know what, just try it in the meantime. If people like you, you're gonna get more business and referrals from other places. And if anything, it's a good place just to get demos, because she was making her first website and she needed some demo material.
Yes.
And so she went on Fiverr, $5 per gig, for like a short voiceover. And from there, she started getting, first a lot of content and referrals, and now she gets direct traffic that pays a lot more.
Yeah.
So is that pretty similar to what you do on oDesk?
Yeah, it's very simple. The concept is the same, that you have this paradox that you have nothing, but to get clients you need to have something. Like, why would a client hire you if you don't have a portfolio?
Yeah.
Because that is, as your portfolio gets better and you have more stuff to show for, you can charge more because they're taking less of a risk by hiring you. And that is then, there has to be this little first thing, this first sacrifice you have to make in terms of, you have to do something for free to get that portfolio item, or for a very low price, or you have to be lucky. But anything, like once you get in there, start building momentum, and that way you can build it out into something that it can be as big as you want.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense, because I think now what she has is she has some reoccurring clients that do kind of bigger projects. Like I think it's one of the airlines. They hired her to do a lot of the voiceovers for like their announcements and their radio stuff. So now she's doing well, and it's really because she just said, you know what, let me just get some work, no matter how little it pays, and let me show to the world my talents, and it's also practice as well, right?
Yes. You build a routine.
Yeah, so oDesk, there's freelancer.com, there's fiverr.com. Guru.com, okay.
Yes, that's also like similar to Elance and oDesk.
So what I would suggest to people, if you're looking for the safest, kind of fastest way to start making money online, is go to any of these sites, take a look to see what other people are doing already, and ask yourself, is this something that I would enjoy doing? Is this something that I would be good at doing? Because not everyone's going to be good at writing, right?
Mm-hmm. Or programming, or design,
yeah.
or voiceover. Yeah, there's a few categories of work that you can do, and there's always one that sort of fits your skill set, and you just get started with that, and you learn as you go.
Yeah, and in the beginning, you're still trading time for money. You're still working an hourly rate, but instead of you working for some company, you're working for yourself. So in the beginning, you might start at $8 an hour, which isn't a lot of money. That's what you would get paid in the U.S. working at McDonald's, right? Mm-hmm. But if you can make that, and for yourself, while building a skill set, building a reputation, building your own portfolio, you can live in Chiang Mai making $8 an hour.
Well, just barely. You would have to work a little bit too much, I guess.
Yeah.
It's in the sense of, like, it's not the best. Okay. It's debatable. I would say move to Chiang Mai after you make a little bit more than that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
But if you have some savings.
Yeah, if you have savings, you can, of course, you have way more leeway. But then you have to be sure that you are on an upward trajectory. And once you are there and it's getting better and better, you're getting more into your new position, your new role, then you can move to a place like Chiang Mai. And Chiang Mai is actually first choice for many people to do that kind of thing.
Because it's super cheap to live here. There's other people you can meet. I just did the math. If you bill $8 an hour and you work 30 hours a week times 4 weeks in a month, you can make $960 a month.
Yes, and there's only one little thing that you have to take into consideration, that at the beginning, if you go to these websites, you will spend a lot of time doing acquisition, or like depending on how good you are. Like in case of Marian, she solved the acquisition problem pretty quickly, so this would apply to her.
Yes.
But for copywriting or programming or design on oDesk, you will probably, especially in the beginning, spend about 50% of your time doing acquisition. So applying for jobs and getting rejected. Takes a lot of time. So then I would say that just double that figure and say that as soon as you make $16 per hour, which can be fast if you already have something to go for. I reached that point pretty fast. So and then you can move. Yeah.
So your recommendation is don't quit your day job. Do this on the side until you get some customers and you're able to charge $16 an hour and have people actually pay for it. Then at that point, you're pretty okay, because then you can come here and just work even 20 hours a week and you'll still make more than enough money to live in Chiang Mai.
Yes, and I would say make sure that you also have a savings. Some savings. So don't quit your job when you have reached that about $16 per hour point, and have some savings. Because you could hit a rough patch where, depending on the kind of work you do, like in the case of Marian, she doesn't have that problem. But if you are a programmer and suddenly your technology that you're specialized in goes out of style, and suddenly everybody wants to have the programmers from the new generation, or you are unlucky with your copywriting clients, or your niche dries up, like anything could happen that would make it harder for you to get new clients, and in that case you need more savings. And I'm saying that because I wish I had saved more before I came here.
Really?
Because I had some pretty stressful times when that happened to me, when it suddenly started to get more difficult to get new clients, and at that point I had to borrow money. I had to call my parents and say, sorry, this is going really well, this Thailand thing, except right now I need 1,000 euros. So, and you don't want to really be in that position if you can avoid it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I actually almost had to call my sister to borrow money last January. No, I think it was last December. It was the month before that. I was really thinking, I actually talked to my cousin and said, hey, if I need to borrow money next month, would you be able to loan me $1,000? And he said, yeah, no problem. Just let me know like a few weeks in advance. And then I thought about it. I was like, what the hell am I doing? I don't want to borrow money from anyone. But what that did was that lit a fire under my butt. And it said, I need to make money, do something now. Yes. And it forced me to really focus on what can convert into actual money, and also work hard. I mean, I was here literally from the morning until midnight, at the office, just working every day, and during that first 2 months, trying to figure out, hey, how can I make this successful?
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly it. So if you would have that sort of illustrates that you should have more room than you initially would think to be sure that you are successful.
But at the same time, don't let that stop you from coming out, because I know for a lot of people, it's never going to be the perfect time or the perfect amount of savings to come out. I would actually suggest people just get the bare minimum. I mean, if you can afford the plane ticket and you have $2,000 in your bank, just come out, because that can last you 3 months if you do it correct. If you live really cheaply on the budget,
yes.
That can last you 3 months. And in 3 months, you can make $1,000 a month online if you're focusing and doing a service-based business. I mean, there's really no reason why it's going to take you more than 3 months to start getting enough gigs on oDesk or Fiverr to support you.
Yeah. So I see. You can. In my case, I did it exactly like that. I had about 4,000 euros when I got here. Plus, at that time, I was charging $25 per hour, and it took about 1 week to get a new job. So I knew that if I sit down behind my desk and I spend 20 hours searching for a new job on oDesk or Elance, then after 1 week I will have a job that pays $25 per hour and is about the size of 10 to 20 hours of work. So I sort of had this figured out. And yeah, that's the point at which you can move to Chiang Mai or Ho Chi Minh City or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a great way to, to get started, but it's not a lifelong plan, right?
No.
What would the next step be? Once, let's say you do this for a year, you're happy, you're working a lot, but you can live here and you can enjoy life. What would the next step be?
Well, that's something that you have basically two choices. You can keep doing that, and many people they self-identify as a minimalist, and they don't want more than that. They want to enjoy their hobbies, they want to enjoy their life, and it might be especially if you're in early 20s or something, that's a big temptation, and you can give in to that. But if you want to achieve more, like if that's important to you, then especially when you're a little bit older, then you need to ask yourself, like, okay, I need to be bigger than just this lifestyle designer dude. That's fun for a few years, and then, or 1 year, 2 years, and then you decide, okay, now I'm gonna get big. And
so you made that decision pretty recently, right?
Yes, I for 2.5 years, I was just doing that, enjoying the thing. I went to the gym, I studied Thai, I hang out with my friends, I get drunk, and that's good. And then I decided, okay, now it's time to get serious. I quit drinking. I started working on my strategy. I just knew that I could do better than I was doing, and I was aware of the fact that I was trading my time for money, which is a big limitation. Unless you make a very, very high hourly rate. But still, you want to be able to scale up, and I was all aware of this. And then I decided, okay, now I'm going to be serious, and I'm going to set up a different kind of business besides the copywriting, or build the copywriting out into an agency. And that's when I started working more hours and trying to make it happen, and I'm now busy doing that.
Yeah, well, it's a new year, and you have new goals, so it's going to be really good to follow up with you 6 months or a year from now and see where you're at.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be cool. All right, guys, so thank you for listening to this week's episode. If they want to get in touch with you, what is your website or your Twitter?
Yeah, you can get in touch with me by going to my website. It's www.vividwebcopy.com. Vivid Webcopy. So you can also go to Twitter, and my Twitter ID is stefantking.com.
Okay.
.com. Stefan T. King.
Just at Stefan T. King. Or just go to travellikeaBosspodcast.com. Episode 19, under the show notes, we'll have links to Stefan's website and his Twitter and everything that we talked about on here, including some photos from the full moon party. It's going to be epic. It's going to be really fun. If you guys... My goal is I'm going to start putting stickers everywhere down on the island. So if you guys want to see some stickers on some nice Dutch girls, I guess.
Well, yeah, they should be there.
Yeah, because right now it's so cold in Europe that everybody wants to come down and get a suntan. So like come check out the photos. Like Travel Like a Boss podcast on Facebook, and yeah, just check it out. And see you guys next week. Good luck to everyone out there, and thanks for being on the show, Stefan.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to the Travel Like a Boss podcast. If you want to hear more, including the bonus How to Choose the Perfect Niche episode, join our mailing list at travellikeabosspodcast.com. See you next week, and remember, if you want to travel like a boss, you need to be your own boss. So start your online business today and start living the lifestyle you've always dreamed of.